Good morning. Today we're going to talk about mobility for Judo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and why it is important that you develop a good amount of mobility for Judo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But why should you listen to me? Well, I practiced Judo for 15 plus years and I'm a licensed physical therapist. So I've learned a lot about how to increase the range of motion of my joints, and also I was a really stiff athlete. I had very stiff back, I have very stiff hips, and I've reached a decent level of mobility, despite being told that I am very rigid, despite being told that I'm not really flexible. Right now I'm able to do a perfectly deep ass to grass squat. I have reached a good level of mobility in my posterior chain, and I want to share with you how to increase your mobility. Also, if you're being told that you have stiff hips, that you're not really mobile, that you're not really, I'm gonna say, you're not capable of reaching good levels of range of motion, this is utterly bullshit, because I've been told that as a kid as well, but with proper exercise and with proper practices, I was able to increase my mobility in a very good way. And why you should improve mobility, why mobility is important. Mobility is important for two main reasons. First of all, it allows you to have a better skill expression. If you can have a bigger range of motion with your shoulders, with your back, with your hips, you will be able to do much more movements. You will be able to perform much better movements overall. For example, the first example that comes to my mind is Uchimata. If you don't have the hip mobility to raise your leg and extend it for a wide range of motion, your Uchimata will be less efficient. If you look at Ono, if you look at Maruyama, they are able to do probably a full split on the ground. So it's very important that you develop your mobility to better express your skills. Another example might be, for example, a sankaku, a triangle choke. If you have more mobile hips, it's easier to close a full triangle. If you have more mobile spine, for example, you will be able to reach better position in your nevasa and in your control. And also, not only for skill expression, mobility is important, it's also important for injury prevention. If you look at studies shows that mobility doesn't really decrease that much the risk of injury during sport practice. But actually, if you look at reality, if you're more mobile, if your body is more used to be in certain ranges of motion, you will be more resilient in those ranges of motion. Also, injury prevention. And also what the study says is that strength training is what gives you the most injury prevention overall. And this is actually true, but most people don't perform their strength training through a full range of motion. They focus, this is my perception, my experience, they focus more on putting more weight on the bar instead of increasing the range of motion of their joints. So injury prevention is important. Injury prevention is another reason why you should do mobility training, but mobility training doesn't mean doing endless yoga stretching. Mobility training is about training your joints, your tissues in extreme ranges of motion with basic strength movements. And the areas that you should focus more are your hips, your spine, and your shoulders. And you increase the mobility of those areas with basic strength training, because doing basic strength training through full range of motion will give you 80% of what you need for your specific sport. In order to increase the range of motion in your hips, what you can do are full range of motion squats, back squats, Zercher squats, whatever it takes, and you go deep down focusing on stretching your hips. Okay, what I would do in your case would be doing, when you're performing those movements, do a 2-second pause when you're on the bottom and you feel that big stretch in your hips. Do that for long enough and you will see great improvements in your mobility. Full range of motion squats Romanian deadlifts is another way. So hinges movements in order to stretch your hamstrings, stretch the posterior part of your hips. It will allow you to reach better range of motion and increase the robustness of your posterior chain and mobility of your posterior chain. Lateral lunges is, I don't really do them and I don't really like it, but for a while I've done them and it increased my external rotation. So if you lack external rotation, which is this movement of the hips, this is external rotation. If you lack some external rotation, performing some lateral lunges with some weight on it can help you to improve that. Also your back, improving the mobility of your back, as I said before, allows you to have better skill expression. For example, if you practice back extensions, it will allow you to better do things like morote sorinage, uranage. Okay, it will allow you to extend your spine more and be able to do a better technique. Sit-ups, lateral flexion, bridges for back extension. I put here a video of me performing a bridge over a wall in order to improve my spine extension. Okay, and for shoulders, how do you improve your shoulder mobility? With basic dips, pull-ups and rows, you through a full range of motion when you feel the stretch in the back of your shoulders, and when you're doing this deep dips, you will see a greater improvement in the mobility of your shoulders, which are already a very mobile joint. But if you want to improve the mobility of your shoulders more, you can focus on this stuff. So these are the things that you do. With basic strength training, you are going to see great improvements in your mobility. If you need some help, if you need to address your mobility better, you can have a one-on-one call with me. You can, for example, book an appointment. You have all the information in the description, or you can just write me an email or a comment. I will gladly respond to every one of your questions. Thank you for watching. The video is over. Remember to aim upward as always.